Hello everybody, my name's Jess and I'm from the Leaders Award team. Welcome to our online engineer interview today featuring Xin Yi Ong. Just before we get to Xin, I'm just going to run through what's going to happen during the session. So as there are a lot of people watching this event, we've muted everybody's microphone except for Xin and I for the whole event so that there are no interruptions or distractions. So the first part of the event will be Xin's presentation, which will then be followed by a second part, which is the Q&A section. Please feel free to type in your questions at any point during the session. Hopefully then, when we get to the Q&A section after the presentation, we can get straight into answering as many questions as possible. So participants should use the Q&A facility, which is accessible at the bottom of your screen, to type the questions in that you have for Xin. This will be similar for those watching on Facebook. Please can you type your questions into the comment section. I will then relay these questions to Xin for her to answer. I'm just going to explain a little bit about the Leaders Award. If you're an engineer, what would you do competition and what it's all about. So the main aim of this competition is to inspire young people aged from 3 to 19 to look around the world and design solutions to problems. So this can be a problem as small as trying to get out of bed in the morning, or a wide world problem such as we're experiencing right now, or like climate change, renewable energy, that kind of thing, and seeing if you can design an invention to solve it. So we provide opportunities for you to meet and interview engineering professionals online, just like we're doing today, to inspire you to think of ideas to start designing some inventions. So to help you with this, we have lots of available resources on our website. So after our interview today, just make sure you register for those. Our suggestion is that you make this a weekly challenge, so interviewing a different engineering professional online every week, which will provide you with sort of inspiration for the problems that you're looking at to solve. So just before you all head back to school, you would then choose your favourite invention you've come up with and take this into your teacher so they can send it off to us and we can grade them for you. So we also launched our newest project, Stat Wars, on the 5th of June. So Stat Wars allows pupils to make rich cross-curricular connections between mathematics, the world of work and their own learning. We've been releasing incredible short videos from data professionals, and we have data professional interviews every Thursday for you to get involved with. So follow our social media channels and go to the website statwarscompetition.com to see what's coming up next. So I'll now pass you over to Xin. So hi Xin, I'll just unmute you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Brilliant. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and then you should be able to share yours. Okay. There we go.
Okay. So it will be so hi everyone, my name is Xin, and I'm going to give a 10 to 15 minutes presentation about myself and my experience as a chemical engineer. So I'm born and raised in Malaysia, and when I was a child, or maybe when I was a teenager, about 15 years old, I love to take part in a lot of science invention competitions, and I always interested about invention and innovations. So what you can see in these pictures are I took part in building bridge competition when I was 16 and 17 years old. And then apart from these pictures, I have also took part in many science invention competition in Malaysia, like try to invent something that is useful for human, but at a low cost. So apart from that, in my sixth form, I have founded a science invention competition. I encourage a lot of people or a lot of youngsters to have the spirit of invention. Apart from that, I have also joined a few outreach activities, like when you can see from the picture is that I went to primary schools to teach the children about science, like simple science, like how to build your own rockets by using just some pipe, water and water bottles, and try to encourage them to love science instead of afraid of science and mathematics. And apart from that, I have also involved in providing free tutoring to children, to underprivileged children in my home country as well, to teach them science, mathematics, geography, and history. So when I finished my A-levels, I decided to come to the UK and did my undergraduate degree, the BEng in Chemical Engineering at Swansea University. So this was a 3-year program, and each year you will have a summer holiday, about 3 months. So every 3 months, I will try to make use of my summer holiday. I will try to apply for some summer placement. So the first summer placement that I have applied is back in my hometown, which is what you can see a drop map here. And the summer placements took about 3 months, and I worked in a chlor-alkali company. So when you heard about chlor-alkali, you probably think, oh, what it is. And so basically it's very simple. So the raw materials that they use is sodium chloride, NaCl, or in other words, is basically salt that we use to cook our food. So they are going through the electrolysis of the sodium chloride solution to produce liquid chlorine, sodium hydroxide, and hydrochloric acid. So during the summer placements, I have been involved in how to plan the process, how to improve the efficiency of the process. And as you can see, it is a very tall building. So at the beginning, I was afraid of height, but as long as you get used to it, you will not afraid of height. You will just enjoy the view when you up to the top floor to see the view around the countryside. So this was my first placement. So during my second placement, instead of working in a chemical company, I decided to do something different. I decided to apply for a pharmaceutical company. So this was me, and I was working with pharmacies and also mechanical engineer and also electronic and electrical engineer. So what you can see that even though I am a chemical engineer, I will still have the opportunity to work with different types of people in different types of background, where you can work with pharmacies, you can work with mechanical engineer, and also electronic and electrical engineer. So what I did was trying to improve the quality control of chewable vitamin C that you can see here, and also the fish oil. I'm sure we can get it here in the UK as well. And part of the quality control test is called disintegration test. So basically, you put the tablet of vitamin C or fish oil into the small tank that you can see here. And the temperature of this tank is about 37 degrees, which is our human body temperature degrees. So this integration test is trying to mimic our human condition and study how long does it take to break the tablet into small particles and then dissolve into our body system. So this is very important for process as in a quality control as a chemical engineer if you want to work in the pharmaceutical industry. So after I finished my bachelor in chemical engineering at Swansea University, I decided to do my Master of Science in Chemical and Process Engineering at University College London in London. So it was a 1-year program, and during the 1-year program, apart from attending lectures, I have also had the chance to do some research. So this time I decided to do something completely different from what I have learned over the past 3 years, which is trying to do some research about photocatalysts. So when you think about photocatalysts, you might think, what is photocatalyst again? So as we can see in the first picture, during the photosynthesis process, the plant that we've seen here is transformed the light energy or the solar energy into the chemical energy. So during this process, the light energy is captured by the plant, and then the plant uses this light energy to convert the carbon dioxide and the water into sugar and oxygen. And with this product, this explains why the plant will grow when they get more sun. So nature relies on photosynthesis to store energy. And we follow this theory to generate the hydrogen from water that you can see here, and by utilizing the solar energy. So what we did is trying to make an artificial photosynthesis to split the water H2O by adding some catalyst into the system, and then you will be able to produce hydrogen and oxygens. And why do we need hydrogen? As we know that nowadays we have problem with the global warming, too much carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide into our atmosphere. So hydrogen itself is a very clean and renewable energy resources. But what happens nowadays is hydrogen gas is mainly produced by 95% by the non-renewable energies, such as the steam reformation from the fossil fuels and the coal gasification. And only 5% is come from the renewable energy. So what I was trying to achieve for this project is trying to build out a photocatalyst that can encourage the water splitting and then to produce hydrogen and oxygen at the end of the process. So after I finished my Master of Science in Chemical Engineering at UCL, I decided to do a PhD in Chemical Engineering again, but this time I moved to University of Surrey, which is a very nice countryside in Guildford. So if you have looked at my CV before, you probably know about what was my PhD project about. So basically is how to make a nice cup of hot chocolate. So have you ever experienced when you try to make a cup of hot chocolate, the cocoa powder is not well dissolved and forms small little lumps in your hot drinks? Well, this can be very annoying for us to have to stir for a long time and still obtain undispersed lump in our hot chocolate drink. So this process can become more challenging for the food industry as well. So the rehydration of the cocoa powder can be divided into 4 stages, which is wetting, sinking, dispersion, and dissolution. So these 4 processes occur simultaneously and affect each other, which make the analysis of each process become more challenging. Well, as we know that nowadays the food industry is trying to produce a healthier lifestyle from their food product. By doing so, they need to reduce the salt and the sugar content across their food products. As well, we probably know that something that doesn't taste nice usually is healthier than something that tastes nice, like a bar of chocolate. But so when the food industry is trying to reduce the sugar content in the, for example, in the chocolate powders, of course, this will might lead to more problem and more challenges for the rehydration process of the food powders. So my PhD project was to identify what factors affecting the rehydration process of the food powders. So as you can see in our daily life, we usually add food powders on top of the liquid surface. And this is what we usually notice, that the food powders will float on top of the liquid surface, and then after some time, they will form a sticky film around here that will actually prevent the food powder at the top to disperse efficiently. So again, what factors affect rehydration process? So it can be divided into two main parts. The first one is the powder properties, and the second one is the operating condition. I'm going to quickly go through what are they in the presentation. So for the powder properties, I'm going to give you some technical knowledge about what is contact angles and surface tension here. I'm sure you probably know what is the size and the density, and I'm going to go through one by one, as well as the operating condition. So now I'm going to give you a little bit of theoretical background. So what is surface tension? Surface tension considered as the force per unit length. So if you put water into a glass, you can't see it by your bare eyes, but theoretically, the water molecule pull equally in all directions by the neighboring liquid molecules, resulting in a zero net force, okay? And how about on top of the liquid surface? So usually the surface will contract to its minimum area to maintain the lowest surface free energy. And because of surface tension, this explains why the droplet of the liquid is in spherical shape, it's not in other shape, because they are trying to contract to its minimum area in order to maintain the lowest surface free energy. And another common phenomena that we've seen in our daily life is why the water strider can float on top of the liquid surface, even though their body weight is higher than the water. So surface tension itself allows the water strider to support its weight by producing a large deformation along their leg, if you can see from the picture here. So we need to thanks to the surface tension, and this helps us a lot in our daily life application. So next we move to contact angle. So there is a relationship between surface tension and contact angle. And what is contact angle? So contact angle is the intersection point between the air-liquid interface and the solid-liquid interface. So as you can imagine, when you put a droplet of liquid on top of the solid, so this is the contact angle. So this is the definition of the contact angle. So when the contact angle is higher than 90 degrees, means that it is hydrophobic. You can see it from the picture. And when the contact angle is less than 90 degrees, you can see that it's spreading quite wide instead of a spherical shape. Okay? And this explains why, again, in our natural phenomena, why when the leaf is very hydrophobic, which means that the contact angle is higher, which means that you can see a droplet of the liquid on top of the leaf surface. So the next thing is, what is moisture content? So if you look at your phone now, you probably will notice that the relative humidity now in the UK is about 75%. So if you put your hot chocolate powder in the atmosphere and without the lid for a long time, you probably will notice after a few days or few weeks, caking will form, and you will see giant lumps of powders coagulate together, which we define it as caking. Okay, so this will be a problem for some of the powders that you want to dissolve to achieve a best rehydration results. So this is one of the factors that will affect the rehydration process. So if we look at, after going through some theoretical background, so we are going to look at the powder properties again. So if you look at Nescafe and Cadbury hot chocolate, which one is dissolved more easily? Well, the answer is Nescafe. Why? Because with the grain enlargement, as you can see from the picture, it will help the powder to dissolve faster, flow better, and imagine if you have a big silos to produce tons of hot chocolate drinks, it will require less time to spend on the cleaning of the manufacturing tongue. And then grain density and grain contact angle. So we know that density is equal to mass over volume, and the density of water is 1,000 kilogram per m cube. So we are using maltodextrin, which is a very common materials that we use in our daily life. If you look at your OXO cube, your a lot of dessert cakes, you will notice that they use maltodextrin a lot in our food as an additive substances, and it is made of rice, flour, and starch. Okay, so you notice that there are two different types of maltodextrin, and both of them, the density is higher than the water. And why? One, when we add it to the liquid surface, why one is float on top of the liquid surface and another one is just sediment at the bottom of the cups. Well, another reason is that it's because of the contact angle that I explained to you. If the contact angle is low, means that it's less likely to float on top of the liquid surface. If the contact angle is high, it will form a lump, like what you see in the second picture. Okay, now we move to the operating condition. So one of the factor that will affect the rehydration process is the mass flow rate of the powder grains added to the liquid. So it really depends on what is the character of the powder that you use. Sometimes it is best to use a fast flow rate, but sometimes it is best to use a low flow rate. So what you can see here, because it is a high flow rate, it forms elongated lumps that pierce through the liquid surface. And then at the end, the lumps sediment at the bottom of the liquid surface. And then this is not ideal for a rehydration process as well. And then the second factor is the liquid temperature. Some people might thought that if you increase the liquid temperature, you will have a better result for rehydration process. But then again, it really depends on the powder properties. Sometimes if you will get a better result by using a liquid temperature of 20 to 30 degrees instead of 100 degrees. Okay, and the last factor is the agitation speed. So you can see that how fast is the agitation speed. So the faster the agitation speed is, the better it will achieve for a better rehydration process. So the faster you stir your hot chocolate powder in the water, you will have less chance to get small lumps in your drink. Okay. So as a conclusion, I have given out two different factor that will actually affect the rehydration process. The first one depends on the powder properties, and the second one is based on the operating condition. So I'm using food powders as an example because this is related to my PhD project. But this process itself is not just focused on the food powders itself. It also will be useful for pharmaceutical products, like the medicine, and also your cosmetic, like we use foundation, lipsticks, where they come from. Before the liquid foundation, and also your lipstick, they all come from powders. And then imagine if the process is not good, and then the foundation that you use will have small little lumps in your face, and same to your lips, eyeshadow, mascara, etc. So powders technology is also very important for cosmetic products, and also the paints and the detergent. If you buy a cheap dishwasher tablet, you probably will have a result like that the powder stick to your plate and is not cleaned properly. So I hope you can imagine how important the powder technology itself contribute as a whole for chemical engineering, and not just chemical engineering, for chemists, mechanical engineering as well. So after I share my 10 years of my experience with you, you probably noticed that I have been working in chemical plants before, and also pharmaceutical plants. And then I did my PhD related to the food products. And I did my master related to the photocatalyst for renewable energy. And now, so when I finished my PhD, I tried to think about what I wanted to do when I finished my PhD. Should I go to industry to work as a chemical engineer? Or should I work as a scientist in a research and development sector? But when I think back, I do love teaching. And I also love doing some research and also being an engineer. So what I decided to do is become a lecturer at Canterbury Christ Church University. So I have the opportunity to teach and encourage more youngsters to enroll for chemical engineering courses. But at the same time, I also had the chance to involve in some research and development, and also had the chance to work as an engineer. So I do hope you enjoy my presentation, and also I'm really happy to share my experience with you. So if there is any question, feel free to ask.
That's fantastic, Xin. That was a brilliant presentation. I was absolutely hooked the whole way through. And I'm sure the things that you've talked about have provided some inspiration for perhaps some inventions that we might get through from the people watching. So let's just have a look if we've got any questions. So I've got one here. So what made you want to become an engineer in the first place?
So I always loved science since I was a kid. So become an engineer, and the reason why I wanted to become an engineer, because I have the chance to do more invention. So let's say for a chemical engineer, how do I, for example, if the COVID-19 vaccination has been invented, how can I produce just one vaccination to gallons and help the whole world? In order to scale out this process, you require chemical engineer. So which is why I think that I really like the chemical engineering process. And I like a little bit of chemistry, I like a little bit of mathematics, and I like a little bit of physics, which is why chemical engineer combine all of them, and which is why the reason I picked chemical engineering.
Yeah. So I've got one here. How do you think we can get more girls interested in engineering? I know, just leading on from that other question.
That's a good question. So I am a girl, and I have been to a lot of outreach activities before, and people, when I try to approach the girls, say, do you want to do an engineer? So the first observation that I say, oh, no, engineer is too much mathematics and it's too hard for me. So I think in order to encourage more girls to become engineer, we need to try to implement the knowledge about engineering is not that hard. If you're willing to put some patience and you're willing to keep doing it, you were able to find out 1 + 1 is equal to 2. So so I think, which is one of the reasons I decided to become a lecturer. I hope that I can encourage more girls or female to decide to study engineering in for their degree, because it is we shouldn't be scared of mathematics or science.
Are there any job roles where particle technology and energy collide? This person's put a comment saying, I love your PhD topic.
Thank you very much. You mean particle technology and energy sector?
Yeah, I think that's.
Okay, so for my master, I have involved to build out a photocatalyst. So the photocatalyst itself is made from powders. So, and some of the batteries, they also, some fuel cell, they also use powders. So if you can combine the knowledge of powder technology to avoid lumps and then to build out the fuel cell or in energy sector, I'm sure it come to a point that they are related to each other.
Okay. Another one, what has been your most interesting day in engineering? Is there any day that sort of sticks out that you think, oh yeah, that was a great day?
So I have joined Christ Church University in January. So my interesting day is quite hard to choose because every day is different. So maybe in the morning, I give a lecture 10 to 12. And then during the lunch break, I managed to do some research and do some study about what is happening in the new technology. And then I'm also very happy about 2 to 3 o'clock students come in to have a chat with me. They have a problem and how to solve their problem in terms of not just academic and also some emotional or personal life problem. So, and then, so it's just, I can find a balance between teaching and also doing research. So this is why I think it's the most interesting day in my life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there another part of engineering that you'd like to explore in the future?
I would say, I'm not sure if any of you have heard about the microplastic. There's tons of microplastic in the world, in the water that we drink, in the vegetables that we eat, the apples, the banana. So I'm trying to apply my previous expertise to water treatment or wastewater treatment. So I'm trying to use the same knowledge and trying to do more research on how to reduce microplastic being released to our water system. And for example, global warming, why global warming happened? One of the reasons is because of microplastic release in the ocean, and then the melting point will be changed, which is why the North Pole and the South Pole of the iceberg become more easily to melt. So my question is more to microplastic in water treatment system.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've noticed actually we've the entries that we've got in for this year so far, and a lot of them have mentioned sort of the microplastics within the ocean, the fish eating the microplastics, we eat the fish, the cycle. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. If you were taking part in the Leaders Award competition, so if you're an engineer, what would you do? What invention would you design?
Oh, that is
on that.
Well, I probably will use something that is related to my PhD project. So even now, like a lot of food companies still have problem to avoid lumps in their production system. So I'm probably will try to find a way, invent something that will actually help them to prevent lumps in their production line.
Mm-hmm. So we get a lot of, when we ask the question, sort of, do you think anyone can be an engineer to young people across the UK? A lot of the responses we get back are, well, no, I don't think anyone could be an engineer because of the certain skills and whatnot. What advice would you have for children who have an interest in it but don't really think that they possess the skills to do that?
I think if you really have the passions for science and you have the curiosity, I'm sure everyone, not just women, male and woman, they all can become an engineer. Don't be afraid of 2 or 3 pages of mathematics question, if you break into parts, at the end of the day, you will be able to solve them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got one here. What is the next big thing in chemical engineering, just like artificial intelligence in computer science?
Oh, because chemical engineering itself, one of the reasons I picked chemical engineering, it just gives me so many choices that I want to go. So what was the question? Big challenge or?
Yeah, what's the next big challenge? What's the next big thing in chemical engineering?
So produce a greener and healthier future for the generation. So as for example, like the clothes that we wear now are made of microplastic. Wow. So how about trying to find alternative material to do our clothes, or find a better binder system, so when you rub it or when you put into the washing machine, it will not release microplastic. So this is one of the example. Mm-hmm. And for what if we are running out of fossil fuels, so chemical engineering can work, try to find an alternative way of renewable energy. So there are lots of opportunities as a chemical engineer and to do a big thing. Depends on which sectors that you want to contribute.
Mm-hmm. What would you say are the most important lessons / skills to develop while at university? So that's relating to technical and soft skills.
So if you have, in my previous presentation, you will notice that every summer holiday, I apply for a summer placement or internship. So apart from doing all the theoretical stuff, I think it is best, is the advice for the new generation. I think it would be good if you can try to apply for some summer placement for yourself. So you can see, okay, I try chemical plant, I try pharmaceutical, I try cosmetic, and then you roughly will know which one do you want to do in your future. Something that you think that is not working doesn't mean that it's bad for you. You know that, so next time I will not pick this sector for my future. So for the soft skill, when you work in a company, instead of being a student, you will learn more about human relationship and management, and yeah, how to become a proper engineer instead of just being a student that study the equation and sit for the exam.
Mm-hmm. Sort of taking it away from engineering for a second, what do you like to do outside of engineering to, you know, sort of hobbies, de-stress time? What do you do for you?
I love dogs, so but I don't have a dog. I will have a dog soon, as soon as I have a garden. So what I'm actually a bit desperate at the moment. So I joined a website called borrowmydoggy.com.
Oh wow.
So it's £10 a year, but you can help people to walk their dogs when they are busy. So when people ask me, do you need any money? I say, no, I walk for free because I love dogs. So this is part of my hobby. But because of this lockdown, I cannot do it anymore. So
no puppy therapy. Oh no.
Yeah.
Have you been working from home at the minute then?
Yes, I'm working from home at the minute. Yeah.
How have you found that? Do you find it inspires you more, or do you find it difficult to be as creative?
I do miss my routine to wear some nice clothes to go to the office instead of wearing pajamas all the time and only dress out for when there's a video interview or Skype. So I do miss my routine to work in the office, but working from home is actually quite nice actually. But I eat more as well, which is not good. Yeah.
Wow. So just want to finish off. Got one here. What would you say is the biggest project you've worked on so far within your engineering career?
The biggest project. So my PhD project was one of the biggest, I think. So I managed to work out an equation that can apply to food, pharmaceutical, or cement industry that can avoid lumps when they're trying to fit their equation, my equation, into their production line. So that was one of the biggest achievements for now. I do not want to go into deep theory because it's going to be too boring. But in layman terms, this is what my project with my supervisor was the biggest achievement for now.
Brilliant. I have just had one more come in. We'll just do the one more. Do you have any advice for securing internships in the current climate?
I have been looking on LinkedIn, and I still observe for the UK. I still see that there's a lot of opportunities coming in for pharmaceuticals industry, and yeah, there's still a lot of opportunities actually, but I'm sure everyone will get used to this environment, as if you wear a mask and keep the distance. I'm sure the company will still want to employ you as an intern, even though you don't need to go to the plant. You still can help them to do some analysis by using Excel, for example. So it will still, yeah, it is still possible to get an internship at current situation.
Brilliant. Well, I just want to say a big thank you to all of those who have been watching and sending in their questions. They've been amazing. And also a huge thank you to you, Xin, for taking the time out of your day to do this for us. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yes, definitely.
So I hope you've all been inspired to take on the Leaders Award competition and start designing. Our resources are available on our website, leadersaward.com, to help you, and please join us for our upcoming interviews. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I think we'll end it there.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. See you later.
Nice to see you. Bye.